other content, and I think that in a lot of ways the project can still be the same, because I think what a lot of people are saying is what they took away from most from the project was group work. Yeah, I think it looks it looks high-tech.
We were going for the high-tech, the whole student version 3.2. We were going for that, like, the future student. I learned so many life skills that I wouldn't learn otherwise by sitting in a desk and listening to a lecture and then filling out a handout. It really benefited everybody, no matter how frustrated they are. People did learn new skills from it, and they tried out for things they wouldn't usually do.
I actually think that it was difficult, but that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Pretty much as close as we could get to like a real life job projects that we might do in, say, an office or whatever kind of like company or profession we're involved in, where it's just like people who aren't necessarily in the same class or whatever, but need to communicate and sort of collaborate together to reach an end product.
This project was a lot more about like general thing, organization, communication, like especially. I think communication was a big one, and I think we really got better at that, like throughout the project. Time management, or like setting dates, because we haven't really set dates before. I mean, usually the teacher does it, and now we've had to set dates for other students, and it's, I think, knowing how long it will take people to do things, and like just, you know, knowing ahead of time, like to leave extra space and stuff is a really good skill.
Some people are benefiting without having a teacher or some authority tell them what to do, and they find their self-motivation that way, but other people, it kind of has the opposite effect, and they can't find that because they've been so used to a teacher, and like this is the first time without it, and therefore they're not motivated at all.
We aren't easily.
So in that way, it's kind of a hard thing to break for them.
It's just kind of funny considering that the entire topic of the website was on Collegiate Renewal and how it speaks of like sort of depending less on a teacher to direct students and motivate them. But like as we were actually creating the website, we found, or I know some people did, that actually not having a teacher there was harder for them to get work done.
Sadly, I didn't really learn how this kind of project works very well, but I did learn a lot about Collegiate Renewal and how it works, and so I learned more about the subject and the process.
So I don't even know if I'm feel that I've learned the same as the rest of the people, because we tried communicating with a lot of people, but it didn't seem like anyone communicated back a lot of the time, so I almost felt like we've just kind of been doing our own thing.
I did learn the overall mechanics of working in a large group, and from that in the future I'll be able to apply this.
One of the big things I took from this, being a team member, is the patience and the dedication that you have to have for every single person on your team.
As well as we learned a bit about like delegation and like how we rely on each other.
So I kind of learned that if you can't find it on your own, you can always ask for help and someone will always help you. And to just be patient, like if you can't do it on your own, go find someone and don't just give up or just get someone else to do it for you.
I also learned about group work and teamwork and how frustrating people can be, but that's okay because in the end we have such a beautiful product that it doesn't even matter anymore.
After this project is over, we've developed a greater amount of respect for each other, which is really important in a classroom environment. I also think this project has taught us a lot about what self-motivation is and what role it plays within learning. Before, many people in our classroom haven't really been intrinsically motivated when it came to school, and they're just working for marks. But now in this project, where the learning was primarily self-directed, we saw that the more effort and energy we put into something, it actually has a direct outcome.
This has been the best quality of revision I've ever had from one of these projects. So very excellent job in terms of defense. Good stuff. Okay.
Well, I learned that I tend to stress people a lot from what I've talked about to people, and I learned to try to sort of step back when people get too stressed and learn to trust them with whatever they do and trust them that they will meet the deadlines and the quality will be good.
I learned more about what a teacher would be like, I guess, because teachers are supposed to be facilitators in learning. I couldn't do an article with Jordan or something, but I could help someone if they needed help. I may have came across as sort of a control freak person who's always like, you have to do this. And some people don't like being in groups where there's this is a leader position. But I don't know if we could have done it all the time without like one job being like, you guys have to do this.
Usually I don't take a leadership role, and the fact that I even did this time surprised me. Being leader, I realized that you have to take other people's ideas into account. Like, we talk about that a lot, and we do talk about compromise, but we don't do it as much.
This project gave me the most opportunities to reflect on my own learning and take responsibility of everything that I did.
Now, through this project and through self-evaluation and taking responsibility for my own learning, I've just developed a greater sense of confidence in my own learning and in my judgment.
If you take control of your learning, and I think that's something that we did in this project, I think it helps you realize what you actually did learn or what you didn't learn.
I realized that I can sit there and I can solve my own problems, and I don't have to have some authority be like, yes, you can do this, and that's how I start solving my problems, and said I can solve it myself. And I think that was very empowering for me.
I think if we did another project of this magnitude, we'd probably do a lot better with communication and leaders. It's probably a lot better for us in the future because now we know how to work in large groups and we know what doesn't work and what does work.
Mostly it was us who took the initiative. So I want to see other classes do projects like this because I think it really helps students learn how to work with each other in like the real world.
You can learn how to code a website, you can learn how to create images in Photoshop, but if you can learn how to manage your time, if you can learn how to work well in big groups and small groups, communicate, I think that's the most valuable thing you can learn.